The Montana night sky erupted with rippling emerald and sapphire lights as the stellar Concordat scout vessel descended through the upper atmosphere. Senior observer Krill Thorne adjusted his sensory apparatus to filter the overwhelming input from the third planet humans called Earth. The readings defied standard classification protocols. The electromagnetic spectrum alone contained more artificial wavelengths than any developing civilization should generate. Krill Thorne focused his compound eyes on the primitive settlements below, noting the curious mixture of primitive combustion vehicles alongside structures that suggested nascent grasp of efficient design. Humans were an anomaly, in every measurable way, advancing from simple tools to rudimentary space technology in less than 10 millennia, while most sentient species required at least 40. Back on the massive command vessel orbiting beyond the moon, Admiral Vex studied the preliminary biological reports. With growing unease, humans required less sleep than any cataloged sentient species, maintaining consciousness for 16 or more consecutive hours. They consumed substances that contained natural toxins that would kill Concordat species instantly. Their cardiovascular system allowed them to maintain physical exertion far beyond metabolic warning thresholds. Most concerning, humans exhibited extreme environmental adaptability, surviving in temperature ranges spanning over 100 degrees. Their reproductive capacity seemed almost unchecked when compared to the careful breeding protocols of advanced civilizations. Admiral Vex called his senior staff to the central chamber. "This species changes our standard acquisition parameters," the Admiral announced, displaying the strange brainwave patterns humans exhibited during problem-solving. They show neural connectivity patterns that suggest multiple simultaneous processing paths rather than our sequential logic approach. Meanwhile, at the NASA Deep Space Monitoring Station outside Boulder, Colorado, Sarah Chen noticed gravitational anomalies that defied conventional explanation. The subtle shifts in local space-time suggested massive objects where nothing should exist. The data indicated something displacing space in ways that violated known physics. Sarah made 3 calls, first to her research partner, Dever Amit Patel, who confirmed the readings were not instrument errors, second to General Rivera at Strategic Command, who immediately elevated global alert levels without public announcement, third to her brother Marcus, who operated the experimental materials laboratory that technically did not exist on any government registry. Marcus Chen had already detected unusual energy signatures. His specialized equipment, originally designed to study quantum fluctuations for enhancing solar panel efficiency, registered patterns that matched no known terrestrial source within 30 minutes of Sarah's call. His laboratory transformed as military personnel established secure communications. Governments worldwide activated protocols developed for exactly this scenario, yet never truly expected to implement. Observation satellites redirected toward the anomalies detected in lunar orbit. Emergency sessions convened behind closed doors, while public news broadcasts continued regular programming. Beneath the Mongolian steppe, Captain Layla Nazari received emergency orders to prepare the experimental vessel Artemis for potential defensive operations. The ship's revolutionary electromagnetic shielding system had demonstrated an unexpected property during testing, creating what engineers called a perception blind spot. Systems scanning for the Artemis simply registered empty space. Across Earth, individuals with exceptional skills found themselves extracted from regular lives. Geneticists, linguists, game theorists, quantum physicists, and military strategists arrived at secured facilities, the planet preparing itself like an immune system mobilizing against an unknown pathogen. In orbit, Krill Thorne intercepted the chaotic flood of human communications, interpreting the disorganized response as primitive panic rather than what it truly represented: millions of minds attacking a problem from countless different perspectives. Simultaneously, the most dangerous evolutionary advantage the observers had yet failed to recognize. Admiral Vex selected a medium-sized asteroid in the belt beyond Mars for the demonstration. No inhabited world had ever resisted after witnessing Concordat power-targeted energy beams lanced from 3 orbital platforms converging on the tumbling rock, transforming it to expanding cosmic dust visible from Earth telescopes as a sudden new star. Global observatories recorded the event, triggering emergency protocols. World leaders gathered in virtual conference, while the astronomy centers tracked the energy signatures that defied known physics. Sarah Chen analyzed the data at mission control, her hands steady despite the implications. "We need to understand how they did this," she told the assembled military and scientific advisors. "The energy required exceeds anything in our theoretical models. This was meant for us to see." In his underground laboratory, Marcus Chen had already connected impossible dots. When microscopic fragments from the destroyed asteroid reached Earth orbit, his specialized collection satellites captured particles that revealed molecular disruption patterns. Rather than conventional explosion, the alloy samples in his lab began to exhibit strange properties under similar energy frequencies. Marcus demonstrated his findings to the gathered observers. The experimental metal compound, originally designed to improve solar energy absorption, displayed an unexpected property. When bombarded with specific frequencies, it absorbed then redirected energy following quantum resonance patterns. "They wanted us to be afraid," Marcus explained, examining the material under specialized equipment, "but they just gave us the key to understanding their weapons." Captain Layla Nazari received new orders to prepare Artemis for testing with Marcus Chen technology. The experimental vessel already incorporated advanced electromagnetic shielding. Now engineers worked frantically to integrate the energy redirection system into the hull. Across the planet, extraordinary individuals found themselves recruited into specialized groups. Theoretical physicists who had proposed alternative models of space-time mechanics, engineers who developed experimental propulsion systems, military strategists who specialized in asymmetric conflict. Russian quantum physicist Dedar Ivanov arrived at the Mongolian facility, bringing computational models that predicted wormhole stability, while Nigerian materials scientist Dedar Adeyemi brought nanotechnology that could reconfigure hull plating under stress. Brazilian game designer Torres brought unconventional algorithmic approaches to tactical situations that defied standard military doctrine. The aliens monitoring Earth communications interpreted the scattered responses as disorganization, failing to recognize the distributed nature of human problem-solving. Each isolated facility approached the challenge from different conceptual frameworks, no central command dictating a single approach. Senior observer Krull Thorne reported increasing electromagnetic emissions from multiple Earth locations to Admiral Vex, suggesting humans were attempting to enhance communication capacity as a response to demonstration, but misunderstanding the significance of energy signature variations. They seek to hide their fear through increased activities. The observer noted they cannot possibly comprehend our technological advantage. Meanwhile, Nazari supervised installation of the prototype system aboard Artemis. Testing revealed that the energy absorption created a curious side effect. The vessel temporarily disappeared from sensor scans during energy cycling. Engineers theorized that the redirected energy bent light and other scanning wavelengths around the hull. Sarah Chen coordinated the Global Response Initiative, connecting research teams through encrypted channels. Humans, historically competitive, now collaborated with unprecedented speed, sharing breakthroughs and failures equally. When the Concordat detected unusual energy signatures from Earth orbit, they prepared standard countermeasures, assuming primitive attempts at defense. But missing the fundamental insight humanity had already gained, their demonstration had revealed weaknesses in their seemingly impenetrable technology. Admiral Vex, confident in Concordat's superiority, issued preparatory orders for the first phase of planetary acquisition, unaware that humans were already developing countermeasures based on principles revealed by their own show of force. The challenge of thunder had awakened something unexpected in the supposedly primitive species. The Concordat War Council initiated their Merciful Conquest Protocol, designed to minimize civilian casualties, while demonstrating overwhelming force targeting key military installations across Earth. 300 precision strike craft entered atmosphere in formation, their battle computers calculating optimal approach vectors based on millennia of successful planetary acquisitions. Colonel Jackson Lee at North American Aerospace Defense Command watched the alien formation on holographic displays, their patterns mathematically perfect, too perfect, he realized. They move like no human enemy would, Lee told his officers. Activate countermeasures pattern Sierra, which no one had ever trained for because it did not exist until that moment. Earth defensive systems launched missiles following seemingly random trajectories. The alien targeting systems confidently predicted interception points, but the missiles suddenly altered course in ways that defied optimal flight paths. Human pilots executed maneuvers subjecting their bodies to forces that should have rendered them unconscious. Aboard the lead Concordat strike vessel, Commander Zith could not understand the tactical readings. Humans were employing strategies that sacrificed efficiency for unpredictability. Their defense systems operated without centralized command structure, each region responding with different approaches, preventing systematic counterattack. In the skies above the Pacific, fighter pilot Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez executed the Cobra maneuver, her aircraft stalling, then reorienting to fire at pursuing alien craft. The Concordat pilots, trained in environments of perfect information, could not adapt to human combat doctrines evolved through centuries of fighting other humans. Krill Thorne, monitoring from orbit, reported troubling observations to Admiral Vex. Humans communicated through contextual references and incomplete instructions, yet understood each other perfectly. Phrases like "remember Bangkok" or "pull a Yeager" carried complex tactical information that bypassed standard translation matrices. They coordinate faster than we can interpret, Commander Zith reported as his formation encountered increasing resistance. Their algorithms cannot identify the pattern because there is no single pattern. Marcus Chen technology, now integrated into select defense systems, began showing remarkable effectiveness. The energy redirection properties, allowing missiles to absorb incoming alien weapon fire, then use that same energy to power final approach. The unexpected shield penetration, causing confusion among Concordat forces. Colonel Lee implemented strategies drawn from ancient texts. Generals from Sun Tzu to Patton to Nairobi had written about warfare against superior forces, creating a hybrid approach that no logical system could anticipate. The human capacity to innovate within chaos becoming their greatest asset. Captain Nazari received emergency orders to deploy Artemis. Despite incomplete testing, the experimental vessel slipped from its underground hangar, rising into atmosphere with minimal electromagnetic signature, its unique hull configuration now absorbing and redistributing energy, making it effectively invisible to standard detection systems. The Concordat fleet began experiencing unprecedented casualties. Admiral Vex watched in disbelief as tactical displays showed formations breaking under pressure from a technologically inferior species. The humans employed no unified strategy, instead attacking from multiple conceptual frameworks simultaneously. Across Earth, military forces operated with surprising autonomy, commanders making battlefield decisions without waiting for central approval, applying historical lessons from wars fought across human history, while communicating through cultural shorthand unintelligible to alien monitoring systems. Brazilian special forces utilized rainforest tactics against landing parties, while Russian units employed strategies developed during ancient winter campaigns. Chinese commanders implemented deception techniques documented 2,000 years earlier by strategists facing superior forces. Krill Thorne analyzed intercepted communications with growing concern. Humans seemed to thrive in the disorder of battle, their neural patterns showing increased coherence, rather than stress degradation during crisis, completely opposite to how Concordat psychology functioned. Something fundamental has been miscalculated, Admiral Vex acknowledged as the first phase of conquest failed to achieve objectives. The humans fight as individuals, yet somehow function as a unified entity without central coordination. The dance of missiles and stars continued across Earth's skies as humanity demonstrated a truth the Concordat had never encountered before: chaos could be a strategy in itself, unpredictability a weapon more powerful than precision. Concordat ground forces made coordinated landfall across 6 continents, their landing craft deploying through atmospheric interference to establish forward operating bases. The soldiers, encased in advanced environmental suits, stepped onto Earth soil for the first time, confident in their technological superiority. Victory calculations remained high until the second planetary rotation, when field commanders began reporting anomalous health alerts throughout the deployment zones, soldiers experiencing inexplicable system failures, their environmental monitoring equipment detecting nothing that could explain the cascading symptoms. In her Lagos Research Hospital, Dr. Eliza Okafor worked frantically analyzing tissue samples from a damaged alien suit recovered by Nigerian Special Forces. Her microscopes revealing something remarkable: Earth microbes were actively adapting to the alien biological signatures, treating them as invasive entities. The Concordat evolved in sanitized environments. Dr. Okafor explained to the Emergency Scientific Council their biology has no defense against our microbial ecosystem. What we fight our entire lives makes us stronger. What they avoided their entire existence makes them vulnerable. The alien environmental suits, designed with advanced filtration systems, could not account for the sheer diversity of Earth microbiome, billions of bacterial, viral, and fungal species constantly evolving. In response to new conditions, the suits, designed to protect against identified biological agents, could not anticipate the endless variety of microscopic life that called Earth home. Commander Xith ordered mandatory quarantine protocols for all ground forces, but the damage spread faster than containment measures could address. Second-wave troops encountering microbial populations already adapting to their presence through accelerated evolutionary response, the planet itself seeming to reject them at cellular level. Meanwhile, field researcher Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka discovered another unexpected planetary defense: certain soil compositions enhanced radio transmissions in ways that created secure communication channels, the high mineral content in specific regions allowing humans to establish networks invisible to standard Concordat monitoring systems. The aliens cannot hear us when we use the Earth itself to carry our messages, Dr. Tanaka reported from his mountain outpost. This planet protects us in ways they never anticipated. The pattern repeated across deployment zones. Siberian permafrost harbored bacterial strains that produced enzymes capable of breaking down alien polymer seals. Brazilian rainforest spores attached to external suit components, beginning degradation processes. North American prairie soils contained microbial communities that generated electromagnetic fields, disrupting sensitive equipment. Admiral Vex received increasingly urgent reports from ground commanders. The medical division facing unprecedented crisis as treatment protocols failed to address symptoms that evolved faster than they could develop countermeasures. The carefully engineered conquest timeline collapsing under pressure from enemies too small to fight. Concordat xenobiologists struggled to understand how humans functioned in such biologically hostile conditions. Analysis revealed the average human carried nearly 2 kilograms of microorganisms, internally lived in constant exposure to billions of potentially pathogenic entities, yet maintained biological equilibrium. Humans co-evolved with their microbial ecosystem. Senior xenobiologist Trell concluded they do not fight it, they incorporate it into their existence. The relationship between humans and their microscopic companions, representing an evolutionary strategy the Concordat had long abandoned in favor of controlled engineering. Dr. Okafor developed testing protocols to identify which terrestrial microbes proved most effective against Concordat biology, distributing cultures to defense installations worldwide, while Dr. Tanaka mapped soil compositions that maximized communication security, creating an Earth-based network immune to alien interception. Facing catastrophic degradation of ground capabilities, the Concordat High Command issued emergency evacuation orders, removing all forces from planetary surface retreat to orbital platforms, the first phase of any standard conquest plan, abandoned not due to military defeat but biological incompatibility. Krill Thorne observed the withdrawal with growing concern, the hidden strengths of Earth revealing themselves in unexpected ways, the planet itself becoming humanity's most effective defender, the invisible ecosystem the humans took for granted proving more valuable than any weapon technology could produce. The Concordat War Council convened to assess the unprecedented setbacks facing their acquisition of Earth. Admiral Vex presented revised strategy focused on psychological warfare, targeting human command hierarchies. Psychological profiles indicated humans required strong leadership to maintain social cohesion. Specialized transmission arrays deployed from orbiting vessels began broadcasting carefully crafted messages designed to instill despair and surrender. The broadcasts specifically targeted what Concordat analysts identified as critical leadership nodes, expecting the human resistance to fragment without centralized direction. Instead, Earth responded in ways no conquest algorithm could have predicted. Novelists, filmmakers, musicians, and artists began creating works that transformed fear into determination, spreading through underground networks, building resilience through shared narratives. Where the Concordat expected submission, they discovered humans drawing strength from imagined scenarios of victory. In her Mexico City Research Center, behavioral scientist Dr. Isabella Reyes identified something remarkable in intercepted alien communications. The Concordat soldiers exposed to human creative works showed measurable changes in neurological patterns, the rigid thought structures of their species developing unprecedented pathways. They have never encountered fiction before, Dr. Reyes explained to the Emergency Cultural Committee. They evolved in a hive mind, consensus society, with perfect information. Sharing the concept of creating alternate realities through storytelling is completely foreign to their psychology. Acclaimed director Lin Wei released a short film depicting ordinary people finding courage against impossible odds, screening in hidden locations worldwide, while composer Samuel Okonkwo created symphonies incorporating alien transmission frequencies transformed into triumphant melodies. Novelist Amara Okafor published digital chapters of resistance narratives that spread through secure networks faster than Concordat monitoring could track. The stories humans told themselves proved more powerful than any alien technology, the psychological warfare backfiring as Earth creative minds transformed the very transmissions meant to defeat them into raw material for inspiration. High Commander Vex recognized the danger too late. The aliens, evolved in cultures of perfect consensus, had no psychological defenses against the seductive concept of individual expression. We are experiencing dangerous thought contamination, Concordat chief psychologist Zen reported as more soldiers exhibited aberrant behavior patterns. After exposure to human cultural transmissions, they imagine themselves as separate entities, making independent choices. The foundational stability of our collective consciousness is at risk. Dr. Reyes coordinated with cultural leaders worldwide to maximize this unexpected advantage, deliberately exposing Concordat forces to increasingly potent creative works targeting the alien psychology with concepts they had never encountered before. The capacity for heroic self-sacrifice, the beauty of individual expression, the power of choosing one's own path. Renowned poet Yasmin El-Fahim composed verses that, when translated into approximations of Concordat language, created cognitive dissonance in alien minds. Video game designer Hiroshi Tanaka developed virtual simulations that demonstrated human thought processes to the aliens, showing multiple solution paths to single problems. The rigid hierarchical Concordat command structure began experiencing unprecedented disruption. Communication officers most exposed to human cultural transmissions showed highest rates of anomalous behavior, questioning orders, considering alternative approaches, exhibiting preferences. Admiral Vex ordered immediate rotation of all personnel with cultural exposure, but the damage had spread too widely throughout human history. Stories served as vehicles for transmitting knowledge, building resilience, and creating shared identity. Now they became weapons more effective than any technology in the face of species that never evolved to resist them. The power of imagination, proving stronger than any physical force. Dr. Reyes documented the phenomenon for future generations. If we survive this invasion, she noted in secure archives, remember, it was not our weapons that saved us, but our stories, our capacity to imagine ourselves beyond our current reality, to create worlds that do not exist, and then bring them into being. With the invasion stalled, Marcus Chen worked tirelessly in his laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains, the scattered remains of alien technology, providing crucial insights into Concordat material science. Unlike the methodical approach to technology development favored by the aliens, humans excelled at intuitive leaps, connecting seemingly unrelated fields. We approach problems differently than they do, Marcus explained to the gathered scientists and military personnel. They build knowledge like a pyramid, each layer precisely placed upon the previous one. We build knowledge like a web connecting ideas across disciplines. Analyzing the molecular structure of recovered concordat hull materials, Marcus identified unique resonance patterns that responded to specific energy frequencies. Collaborating with oceanographer Daver Elena Vasquez, who recognized similarities to harmonic wave patterns observed in deep ocean currents, the team developed a theoretical framework that defied conventional physics. It shouldn't work according to standard models, Marcus admitted, but neither should their ships. The laws of physics as we understand them have exceptions we never discovered. Captain Nazari arrived at the facility with Artemis, now positioned for the critical testing phase. Engineers worked around the clock, integrating the experimental energy matrix into the vessel's systems, the disruption field designed to unravel molecular bonds in concordat materials by exploiting quantum resonance vulnerabilities. Military strategists developed Operation Lightning Strike, a daring counteroffensive leveraging the new technology. Colonel Lee coordinating global defense assets, while Dirk Chen finalized calibrations on the disruption field generator, the plan requiring precision timing and coordination across multiple theaters of operation. The human counteroffensive began with a feint: conventional forces engaging concordat ships in low orbit, drawing attention, while Artemis powered up its experimental systems, the vessel disappearing from all detection arrays as the disruption field activated, creating a quantum blind spot in space. Nazari guided Artemis through the concordat blockade, her ship appearing to phase through enemy defenses, the molecular disruption field, causing alien hull materials to lose cohesion at atomic level without triggering standard defense protocols, the concordat never having encountered technology that attacked the fundamental structure of matter itself. Aboard the concordat command vessel, Admiral Vex received alarming reports as secondary ships began experiencing catastrophic hull failures without apparent cause, sensors detecting nothing that could explain the molecular destabilization spreading through the fleet like contagion. Impossible, Vex declared, observing monitors as the flagship itself began registering structural integrity warnings, emergency containment fields failing to halt the progressive dissolution of critical bulkheads. The Admiral witnessing something unprecedented in concordat military history: strategic uncertainty. Artemis penetrated deep into the concordat formation, its disruption field expanding in carefully calculated pulses, the energy matrix Marcus designed reconfiguring in response to alien countermeasures, demonstrating another uniquely human technological approach: adaptive systems that evolve during engagement rather than requiring pre-programming. For the first time in recorded history, the stellar Concordat Central Command issued emergency retreat protocols, the carefully orchestrated invasion plan collapsing under assault from technology. They could neither detect nor counter, the humans having accomplished in weeks what other species failed to develop in millennia. Marcus Chen monitored telemetry from Artemis, observing the disruption field effects and making real-time adjustments, the collaborative human approach allowing immediate adaptation to changing conditions. The theoretical physicist Daver Ivanov suggesting quantum modifications that engineer Torres implemented without formal testing, the improvisational approach proving superior to methodical concordat processes. Captain Nazari guided Artemis through a series of attack vectors specifically designed to appear random and unpredictable, targeting vessels in patterns that defied logical analysis, further destabilizing concordat response algorithms. Their military doctrine, built on predictive models, rendered useless against human chaos strategy. The lightning breakthrough demonstrated perhaps the most fundamental difference between human and concordat approaches to knowledge. Where the aliens perfected technologies through careful iteration, humans created revolutionary advances through intuitive connections between disparate fields, the very unpredictability that the concordat considered primitive proving to be humanity's greatest technological advantage. As the conflict approached its pivotal moment, humanity revealed perhaps its most profound advantage: psychological resilience. In the face of changing conditions, the concordat species evolved in environments of relative stability, using technology to maintain optimal conditions rather than adapting to extremes. Their biology and and psychology, both specialized for consistent parameters. Commander Sofia Rivera led multinational special operations teams drawn from environments ranging from Arctic tundra to equatorial jungle, demonstrating capabilities that seemed impossible to specialized Concordat forces, human teams operating effectively in temperature variations, atmospheric conditions, and gravity fluctuations spanning ranges no single alien species could tolerate. They bred for specialization. Chief Medical Officer Trell observed in reports to Admiral Vex, "We designed our species for optimal performance in controlled environments. They evolved through endless adversity, embracing adaptability over perfection." The Concordat watched in disbelief as human teams functioned effectively in radiation levels that should prove debilitating, pressure variations that should trigger physiological collapse, and thermal extremes that violated standard viability parameters. Human special forces operating in environments that required Concordat soldiers to wear full environmental suits. Rivera deployed teams using tactical approaches drawn from Earth predators, human units moving like wolf packs, coordinating through minimal communication, while maintaining individual decision-making capability. The distributed command structure allowing operations to continue even when leaders fell, the resilience the hierarchical Concordat forces could not match. The aliens never anticipated psychological adaptability, either human populations recovering from orbital bombardments with remarkable speed, creating functional societies amid ruins, rebuilding infrastructure, and maintaining morale through shared hardship communities, developing impromptu solutions to unprecedented problems, displaying creativity under pressure. Meanwhile, something even more remarkable emerged from an unexpected quarter. Teenagers across the planet, their neuroplastic brains, uniquely adapted for pattern recognition, began breaking Concordat encryption protocols and communication systems faster than alien engineers could redesign them. Professor Lin coordinating these efforts through gaming platforms that disguised complex cryptographic work as competition. Young minds see patterns differently, Professor Lin explained to military leadership. They lack our assumptions about what should be possible, their neural pathways still forming, allowing connections we would never consider. 16-year-old Maiko Tanaka developed an algorithm that predicted Concordat fleet movements based on subtle radiation signatures, while 14-year-old Gabriel Okuffer created a decryption method that treated alien language as musical notation rather than mathematical code. 13-year-old twins Sofia and Miguel Rice developed a distributed computing system using gaming consoles that surpassed Concordat quantum processors. Admiral Vex faced unprecedented strategic collapse as his once secure command network became an open book to human intelligence units. The Concordat communication systems, designed for efficiency rather than security, never having faced adversaries capable of the lateral thinking that human teenagers employed as naturally as breathing. Even more concerning, the Concordat bioengineers reported human adaptation occurring at genetic-level populations exposed to alien environments, showing epigenetic changes within single generations, stress responses activating dormant genetic pathways, allowing accelerated adaptation to new conditions. They do not overcome adversity, Commander Zith reported with growing alarm. They incorporate it, becoming stronger through exposure to conditions that should weaken them. Their biology embraces change rather than resisting it. The children of adversity, humanity, forged through millions of years of environmental challenges, predator pressure, disease outbreaks, and climate shifts, had evolved something that carefully engineered Concordat species could never match: the ability to view changing conditions not as threats to be avoided, but opportunities to be embraced, the capacity to grow stronger through struggle itself. The stellar Concordat Supreme Assembly convened an emergency session as the carefully engineered invasion faced imminent collapse. Fleets, retreating ground forces evacuated, and communication networks compromised. Admiral Vex presented the unthinkable analysis: humanity could not be conquered through standard protocols, their adaptability defying all predictive models. The Assembly authorized unprecedented measures. First speaker Ith Zenner prepared for direct negotiation, something no Concordat leader had ever undertaken with a developing species, the massive diplomatic vessel approaching Earth orbit under truce protocols, expecting either surrender terms or annihilation, the only two outcomes in their historical experience of conflict resolution. What they encountered instead challenged their fundamental understanding of intelligence itself. Sarah Chen, leading the human delegation aboard the International Space Station, presented evidence that shocked the assembled Concordat leadership. Humans offered cooperative partnership rather than dominance. "We could continue fighting," first speaker Ith Zenner stated, assessing the human representatives, "but your species has demonstrated qualities we have not encountered in 50,000 cycles of exploration." Dr. Chen activated holographic displays showing the unique developmental path of Earth from single-cell organisms through countless evolutionary branches to the present biodiversity, the chaotic, competitive yet strangely cooperative evolution, producing insights that complemented rather than threatened Concordat knowledge. "Our strength comes from our differences," Chen explained, "not our similarities. We propose an exchange that benefits both species. What you perfected through careful engineering, we discovered through endless adaptation. Together, we become more than either alone." The treaty, negotiated over 14 Earth rotations, designated the third planet as a nexus of evolutionary innovation. The first such classification in galactic records. Earth would retain full autonomy while sharing biological insights with the Concordat, who would contribute technological knowledge previously reserved for senior member species. Concordat xenobiologists began the humbling process of studying why Earth's tumultuous approach to existence produced such remarkable adaptability. Their carefully constructed evolutionary models requiring complete revision to account for the advantages of seeming chaos, the benefits of competitive cooperation that drove human innovation. Most remarkable to the alien scientists, the human capacity to form collaborative teams across physiological, psychological, and cultural differences. Representatives from nations that once aimed weapons at each other, now working seamlessly together, demonstrating a flexibility of social organization that no engineered society could match. Teenage cryptographer Maiko Tanaka joined Concordat communication specialists to develop new encryption protocols, while Dr. Marcus Chen collaborated with alien engineers to refine the molecular disruption technology for peaceful applications. Captain Nazari training a new generation of pilots for vessels that would explore the galaxy alongside their new allies. Humans prepared for the stars with transformed understanding of their place in the cosmos, no longer alone yet recognized for their unique evolutionary gifts, the hidden strengths of Earth, acknowledged at last by a civilization that had dismissed chaotic evolution as inferior to design perfection. The first speaker addressed the human representatives in the final treaty ceremony. "Your species has taught the Concordat something we had forgotten in our pursuit of perfection, that strength emerges from adversity, that differences create resilience, that adaptation requires the freedom to explore unexpected paths." Humanity had proven that technological advancement alone did not determine a species' destiny, that the capacity to embrace change, to thrive amid chaos, and to build connections across differences represented evolutionary advantages more valuable than any weapon, the very qualities the Concordat had engineered out of their existence in pursuit of stability. So ended the attempted conquest of Earth, not in destruction or submission, but in mutual recognition. Two paths of evolution, converging to create something greater than either could achieve alone. The children of adversity joining hands with the children of design, each contributing unique strengths to face the vast unknown universe together.